Build-A-Bear bullcrap. Get stumped. Here we go again. Only a Democrat would tweet something as stupid as what I got for you. And a topless car wash. And we have video. Ooh, don't want to miss that. Welcome to the Sheldon Show. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Day after Monday. We made it through. Thank goodness. It is Tuesday morning on the East Coast and West Coast. And all throughout the good old United States of America. We are live on Rumble and we are live on X. So wherever you may be watching our show, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Please give us a follow and a like. We do all we can to be here for you Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Hey, don't forget, please, our locals channel. It's going great. If you want to become a member, you can help to support the show, and you get a little behind-the-scenes stuff. We do 2 or 3 times a week. We'll do a after-hours show, and it just includes some stuff that we don't put on the main channel, stuff we're not ready to talk about yet, theories, conspiracy theories, and we loosen up a little bit. Little language warning, but yeah, that's all right. It's just me being me, not being polite. Or overly polite. Good morning, Danny. Welcome in. Ah, man. It's hard to be polite when you're having to deal with these leftist, woke morons. And a teenager in Washington State had what was a very simple request at a local Build-A-Bear. Now, if you don't know, Build-A-Bear is where they give you all the stuff to put together and you can actually create your own little stuffed animal bear. Very cool idea. Well, the local Build-A-Bear and this teen's little simple request, turns out they were absolute tool bags about it. Build-A-Bear, as we said, allows kids to make custom stuffed animals. Should not be a place that's full of controversy. It's a place where you make stuffed animals. What in the fresh hell would cause a ruckus at a Build-A-Bear? Well, for one Washington teen, her request to call her bear Charlie Kirk led to the manager of this location denying her request, which led to a circus, and that led to the teen being completely rattled. A place where stuffed freaking animals are made should not be a war zone. Duh. But the left will make you care. Also, not for nothing, but this is the left coast. And who knows what freaks are working behind the counter. She wanted to print the name Charlie Kirk on her plush toy's birth certificate, and they refused. Evie McCormick, 16 years old, told Seattle's King 5, that the incident happened September 26th at the Build-A-Bear workshop inside the South Center Mall in Tukwila, Washington. Said she and her friends were at the mall and she decided to make a bear in honor of Turning Point USA founder, who of course last month lost his life. The idea had been trending on TikTok, and according to McCormick, after she finished making this custom bear, the employee refused to print Kirk's name on its certificate. Now, printing a birth certificate for your brand new custom-made bear has been a part of the store's experience forever. It allows customers to name their new toy. She just didn't agree with it. She didn't support it. And she told me, we're not doing this. And she folded it up and threw it away. The location refuses to make comments to the media. McCormick's mother was able to get a $20 gift card for the poor service. Psst, please. Still a joke. Corporate offices later reached out to the family to apologize and promises to retrain the employees. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen. Not. Just print the damn certificate. Shut your face, you insufferable clowns. What the hell is this? A stuffed toy shop. Not necessarily to make the stand for your weirdo political stance. Unbelievable. This kind of crap is permeating our lives in every little crack they can find. Build-A-Bear Workshop, a stuffed toy making place where you go in to just have a good time, enjoy yourself, build a memory, and yet these buttheads wouldn't put the name Charlie Kirk on a bear certificate. We need to Bud Light this company. This is crazy, absolutely insane. And think of how this little 16-year-old felt. And on top of that, what a nice thing to do, to build a bear and name it in memory of Charlie Kirk. That was doing the right thing. What this idiot shop and its employees did was 1,000% the wrong thing. We've got to find a way to make these people pay. And the best way to make them pay is for you not to pay them any of your hard-earned money. I don't have a Build-A-Bear where I am, but I sure the hell would not be shopping there if I did. Do you know Nick Kristof from the New York Times? Well, you're gonna, and for all the wrong reasons. He has now starred in probably the cringiest video you will ever see coming out of Portland. Yep, that Portland. Now, it is often said the left can't meme, and boy is that true. If the New York Times columnist Nicholas Kristof's latest video on X is any indication, the left can't do much of anything that simply requires a sense of humor. If there was such an award, I would nominate this performance from one of the more posh streets in downtown Portland as the cringiest video of the day. Here's the X post that he writes, "My video report from the perilous front lines of what President Trump described as a war-ravaged Portland, a city on fire, requiring troops to come and save us. Watch this idiot."
Be careful. Portland is on fire. Our president says so. You can hear the artillery booming, the rival gangs fighting, the clouds of tear gas all around us. Be careful. But actually, this isn't a war zone, whatever Trump says. This is perfectly peaceful. So, during the ceasefire, I'm going to attend an Oregon Historical Society dinner.
Great role-playing, isn't it? He then marches into the Portland Art Museum. This is a poshy part of town, by the way. Joins his fellow elitists for the thing they do best, cocktails, which they do behind thick walls, surrounded by security, exactly 2 miles from where this has been occurring.
There was a fucking marathon today!
Salt, right here. Right here.
Oops.
There's no police.
All right, play it back.
Fucking marathon today!
Salt, right here. Right here.
There's no police.
Unbelievable. On freaking 2 miles away from that was that idiot. Yeah, he reminds me of a creepy little hobbit. You're exactly right. Oh, man. And in case you needed any more proof, here is an absolutely beautiful downtown Portland park. Isn't that nice? Beautiful, huh? Wouldn't you like to just take the kids for a picnic there? These idiots. What a joke. A creepy little hobbit. Absolutely brilliant. You're exactly right. What makes this rather awkward video even worse is the fact that he and his like-minded snobs know which areas to avoid and ignore when they travel to their high society dinners. They understand they do need to know what's happening in their midst. Their own evasive behavior reveals a very quiet admission that they know what's going on, even as they pretend there's, oh, nothing to see here, everything's great. He knows all the right people, and he knows all the wrong people. And that comes through as we watch him carry out his little fantasy there, pretending that Portland hasn't become the human cesspool of the U.S. A whole world's eyes are on Portland right now, and pretending it isn't an absolute freaking mess. Yeah, that's nice. You keep up with that fodder. Unbelievable. Hey, Blackout Coffee. Well, here we go. Right there. Nice. Blackout Coffee is one of our partners on this show. And I'm going to tell you, you have got to try this coffee because it is amazing with a capital Stay free, stay awake, Blackout Coffee. There's the deal. Holiday edition flavors are back, folks. Yep, take a look. Peppermint mocha, candy cane. What else we got here? Winter Wonderland. Yes, they do pods, they do instant, but these holiday flavored coffees, oh man, they are good. Thousands of 5-star reviews for Blackout Coffee. They've got signature blends, partner roasts, and now you can also order them already ground. So it's not just beans. A lot of their favorite, most popular roasts are now available as ground coffee. Cinnamon French toast, blueberry crumble. Unbelievable. It's more than coffee, it is a stand. Every sip fuels American jobs, American values, and freedom. They support our troops. They've got all kinds of cool merch over there. Look at that. Check it out. And, of course, all the partners, including the Jay Sheldon Show. And all you got to do is head to the link in our show notes, Order yourself up just a single bag, just one bag, that's all I ask. Try it, give it a shot. They only roast your beans after you order. Ship them out within 24 to 48 hours, and right at your doorstep in less than a week, a matter of days, you've got the best tasting fresh roasted coffee, whether it's beans or ground, you can buy. It is just the best. It is not expensive, and it will change your mind about what good coffee is. Blackout coffee, always big, bold coffee taste, very strong, but never, ever, ever bitter. Blackout coffee, check them out. Use the link in our show notes. Even if you're a repeat customer, still use that link in our show notes. That's important, so we get the ping for you being there because of us. We appreciate it. Blackout coffee, use the link in our show notes. Get yourself a bag today and get yourself the best coffee on the planet. Here we go again. Why do I have to keep doing these stories day after freaking day after freaking day? A child's killer has once again been freed. White House looking into the case of a convicted killer who stabbed a 6-year-old to death back in 2015. Now, walking free because of supposed good behavior. And he pled not guilty by reason of insanity. Ronald Exantis broke into a family home, stole a kitchen knife, and used it to stab the sleeping Logan Tipton, who was asleep, stabbed him to death. White House Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the White House is looking into this case. I can confirm the White House is looking into this. It is wholly unacceptable for a child killer to walk free after just several years in prison. Viral video shows Kentucky father Dean Tipton, father of the slain 6-year-old. He said he will kill the man if the two ever cross paths. I think I can understand that. He says, I've had my talks with God because I'm not afraid to tell you what I told the court. If I ever cross paths with him, I will kill the man. I will kill him where he stands. This case, have you heard of it before? Likely not. Why isn't this massively viral? Why is nobody but a little show like mine talking about this? Why is this not headlines on every website and newspaper in the country? We need the White House to be in on this, to be looking into it. Broke into the house, stabbed a child to death, and now is walking free. One of the most outrageous miscarriages of justice likely in American history. The failure of the court system here in this country, liberal judges that allow Ronald Exantis sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2018 and released on good behavior. You don't get good behavior when that's what you've been convicted of. Logan's father, when I got to the top of the stairs, he attacked me with a knife. He stood up with me on top of him, stood up and threw me 10 to 15 feet across the room, and then went after my daughter. Stabbed me in the back, stomped on my head. That's Logan's sister, Dakota Tipton. I remember walking across the room, not where I was at, and I looked and he was killing Logan. And Logan was screaming. Justice? Kentucky's Democrat governor believes January 6 defendants that never even entered the Capitol or laid a hand on anyone, like Enrique Tarrio, deserve to be in prison for 20 plus years. But murderers of children, like Roland Exantis, deserves to be released after just 7 years. 70% of this animal's sentence was eliminated. Why? Well, basically because he hasn't killed anybody while he was in prison. Isn't that nice? Based on this good behavior, Governor Beshear and the parole board he appointed claimed they have no choice but to release him back into the community, where he will live alongside the Tipton family, whose son he murdered in cold blood. No choice? Sure, you have a choice. You can deny his parole. No choice. Unbelievable. 7 years. And out on the streets. Yeah, Danny says that gives me goosebumps and tears thinking of my little Jack who turns 6 in December. I myself would be asking God for forgiveness because I would be searching for that man. You know, I do not believe in the death penalty. I've never believed in the death penalty. I've said it on this show thousands of times. I still don't. But I have been thinking that lately, the reason that I don't believe in it, let me just explain this, is that it is entirely possible, and it has absolutely happened, that we have put to death innocent people. People wrongly convicted, given the death sentence, and executed when they were innocent, which it was later proved. And that simply cannot happen. I'm a strong believer in locking them away for the rest of their natural lives. Throw away the key, no parole, no good behavior, no nothing. You will die in prison. 100% no way out. This is where you will die. However, lately, I've been thinking about it. We live in a day and age now where with DNA, cameras on every corner, and doorbell, that in some cases there is absolute, irrefutable proof that someone has committed those crimes. In a case like that, I am beginning to change my mind about the death penalty. Again, simply because science and technology has caught up, and the chances of someone being wrongfully convicted have gotten smaller and smaller. Not to say it cannot happen, but the likelihood now is very small. Exactly right. Why, my only reason for being against the death penalty is because the system is not perfect. But it's a hell of a lot closer to being perfect nowadays than it was 10, even 20, 30 years ago. So at the moment, I'm on the fence. Stay tuned. I'll update you if I change my mind. Hey, New York Times, the answer is no. We do not need to feel bad for these people. The New York Times apparently trying to drum up sympathy for those who post awful things about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and then got fired for it. Also, the notion that Facebook posts are some private communique is beyond silly. That's not why you post on Facebook. You post it so other people can read your posts, and maybe you'll get some likes. That little red notification will come up when you sign in. Ooh, adrenaline rush. Also, it's a public platform, so don't get shocked when you get raked over the coals for saying something absolutely freaking stupid. Same goes with Twitter or X. Yes, the publication is trying to do exactly that, the Times. You can feel the rage coming right out of the print. We got these people fired, and we don't care. Now, of course, they pick the tamer of examples. Still, it goes without saying, stop posting stupid shit, relishing people with whom you disagree, dying on social media, and expect zero backlash, because that ain't gonna happen. Most who got the axe, at-will employees, employers who aren't and should not tolerate staffers who endorse domestic terrorism. And that is exactly what these people are posting. It is not an attack on free speech. You can still say terrible things, but I suggest you don't post about it. You keep it maybe within the confines of your own home and family. Maybe they'll agree with you. But these lefties just cannot help themselves. Taking to social media, posting downright awful things about Charlie Kirk and the assassination. Some even went out of their way to vandalize the memorials for Kirk. Unbelievable. The left, 5 times more likely to endorse or support political violence against their enemies. They also happen to be the most online bunch, too. They're everywhere. There is no such thing as private Facebook. It doesn't work that way. Who the hell thinks that's a thing? You're going to play with fire, you're going to get burned. And yes, you deserve to get fired. Your employee does not need someone like that representing their company, even if you are just some lowly way down the food chain employee. You still represent the company. And if those are your attitudes, you're out of here. You're fired. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. You're done. Cooked. More Democrats, more lefties, more idiots. This one, oh man, I'm telling you. Only this Democrat representative would tweet something so stupid about the fire that destroyed a judge's home. Democrat from New York, Rep. Daniel Goldman, is the dunce in the House Democratic Caucus. This man arguably triggered the special counsel investigation into Hunter Biden when he attempted to laughably corner IRS whistleblower Joseph Ziegler, Gary Shapley, in 2023, who testified about how Biden's administration had run interference regarding their probes into Hunter. Truly, when he does media hits, the lights are on, but absolutely nobody is home. He's just not that smart. A recent fire, an explosion that engulfed a circuit court judge's home, provided yet another moment for this idiot congressman to step on a landmine, and that is exactly what he did. He blamed Trump aide Stephen Miller and MAGA for the fire. I don't know if you've seen this. We didn't really cover it much, but this was an absolutely unbelievable. This is the circuit judge's home going up in flames after an explosion. Look at that.
You can hear this thing burning.
Wow. How anybody survived that is just absolutely beyond me. Now, Goldman is a lawyer, so you'd think he'd know enough to keep his fat mouth shut. But no. Officials found zero evidence the fire was started intentionally. He posts this on X. Trump, Stephen M., and MAGA would have been doxing and threatening judges who rule against Trump, including Judge Goldstein. Today, someone committed arson at the judge's home, severely injuring her husband and son. Will Trump speak out against the extreme right that did this? Rapid Response 47 replied, law enforcement said there is no evidence this was intentionally set. So why haven't you decided to delete this fake news? You are deeply disturbed, Danny. Your demented lies serve only to inspire more violence from the radical left. But he didn't heed those words, that's for damn sure. Unbelievable. This man is a complete moron. Man, Shevitz. And we got more. Jay Jones, who is a Democratic nominee for Attorney General, the top law enforcement office in the Commonwealth of Virginia. He has mused about shooting the Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert in a text message from 2022. Why is this man still a candidate? In a string of text messages from Jay Jones, Virginia Democrat nominee for AG, he mused about violence directed towards a political rival, and that's triggering widespread backlash, as it should, threatening to shake up the state's November elections just next month. Jones is signaling he plans to remain in the race. Republicans are up and down the ballot pressing the Democratic nominee for governor, Abigail Spanberger, to publicly call on him to step aside. Listen to this. August 2022, Jones wrote about shooting then Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert in a text message he sent to Republican State Delegate Kerry Coyner. The texts were first reported by the National Review, subsequently looked at by the Washington Post, have not been independently confirmed, but Jones wasn't questioned about their veracity. He has publicly apologized for them. Sorry, too little, too late. Sorry, not sorry. Here's what he writes. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets the 2 bullets to the head. Yeah. He later called Coiner to continue the conversation, where he invoked the death of Gilbert's children and said it might cause the then speaker to change his political views. He's threatening the man's children. And he's still on the ballot. He has not stepped aside. He's still running for the top law enforcement office in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Is that the man you want on the job? Gotta be kidding me. And while we're in Virginia, let's take a little walk down the Virginia Democratic governor candidate's employment history. There she is. Virginia Democratic Attorney General candidate Jay Jones, not the only one having a rough week. Gubernatorial candidate Abigail Spanberger is having her work history brought into light because she taught at a Saudi-run school post 9/11. The institution is an absolute terrorist hub. Top Hamas officials all send their kids to this school. Yeah, Hamas. The school's comptroller tied to Hamas. It shouldn't shock anybody that graduates of this school, ISA, on the radar of federal officials, were possibly carrying out attacks against Israel. Spanberger worked at the ISA between 2002 and 2003. She hasn't denied working there, even saying she was very proud of her time there. In a lengthy article about this school, its alumni, shady history, the school was controlled and funded by the Saudi government. Numerous local citizens in Northern Virginia were opposed to the relocation and expansion of the ISA because of concerns about the school's teachings and its control and funding by the Saudi government. They don't exactly have the best human rights record. Incredible. She said ISA taught its students to hate non-Muslims. Murder was permissible, and Spanberger's tenure there coincided with these jihadist teachings. It is almost a prophetic place of employment for a Democrat running to be governor of Virginia. Her party has been engulfed, taken over by pro-Hamas elements. Most of the base now completely anti-Semitic. And they excuse terrorism writ large if Jews are killed. Although that's bound to expand as radical Islamic elements continue to take over the party, as they are and have been doing. So there is potentially your next governor, Democratic candidate Abigail Spanberger. An interesting employment history. Yeah. We have not covered this fool in New York who sadly is getting closer and closer to winning. And that, my friends, is a scary proposition. I am talking, of course, about Zohran Mamdani, who has been found to be happily rubbing elbows with Ugandan politician who wanted to jail gay people for life. We are less than a month away from this commie bastard getting elected as the mayor of New York City. And that should scare the hell out of everyone, not just New Yorkers. Me, I'm a Curtis Sliwa fan. Members of the Democratic Socialists of America gloating that Mamdani is going to follow their agenda if he gets elected. We've already seen what that looks like. End of the gifted talented program in New York schools. Free buses that cost, only $700 million. Abolishing prisons. Defunded police. Government-run grocery stores with mostly empty shelves. That's why calling this idiot a democratic socialist is a complete lie. It is just a fancy way of saying he's a communist. And now it seems he's just going to follow in the footsteps of Marxist Che Guevara, a revolutionary who hated gay people and put them in camps. Here he is, smiling and so proud with this Ugandan bigwig who has been pushing a law to jail gay people for life. Met with Rebecca Kadaga in July during a break from the campaign. Delighted to meet with Zoran Mamdani, incoming mayor of New York City. Good luck in the next phase of elections, Kadaga said, in a caption of a photo with a grinning Mamdani. Here with Mamdani and Professor Mamdani as Zoran returns to New York after his traditional wedding in Kampala. She gushed in another photo of her, Mamdani, and his father, Columbia University professor Mahmoud Mamdani. So, be careful who you hang out with. You still going to vote for this guy? I have probably no listeners and viewers in New York City. But just in case maybe you have a relative there, please do all that you can to phone them, write them, email, text message them, and tell them to really look into this guy. New York will be done if he's elected. And at this moment, it's looking sadly really good that he is going to get elected. Scare the pants off of you? Oh, yeah. It ought to. We got, the China story. There is no hiding it, my little friends. China's action indicates, by all accounts, that it is planning a preemptive attack on the United States of America, right here. Actively preparing for war against the U.S. During the Biden regime, we saw the first signs. Chinese began a campaign of elite capture, the Western Pacific, quietly buying legislators, controlling the parliaments of at least 8 nations, and negotiating defense agreements. In the case of the Solomon Islands, gives China the right to deploy troops there to put down civil unrest, allegedly. Now, part of this was undoubtedly due to Joe being afraid to upset Xi Jinping, force him to disclose the videos of Hunter Biden engaging in some of Hunter's favorite activities, like, drugs and prostitutes. There were even rumors Hunter may have had the same problem in China, with Robert Menendez rumored to have had in the Dominican Republic. As the Biden clique ended its misrule, opened our southern border, Do you remember these pictures? I think you will. These are military-age Chinese nationals crossing the border into our country. Incredible. And I got more. Oh, yeah. If you take a look at this video, these are the Chinese nationals lined up. I want you to notice a couple of things at least. Most of them have military-style haircuts. They are military-age, fit young men. And look how many of them are posing in what in the military would be called a parade rest pose, with their hands clasped behind their back. Look at that. %, men, military-aged men, sneaking into the country. About 99% of them male. Most of the Chinese guys have military haircuts, rucksacks, standing at parade rest. Oh, I'm sure there's nothing unusual about that. And as this was happening, we began to notice that Chinese entitles were acquiring farmland in the heartland of our country. A lot of it. Military bases right next door. And the bases in question, not just any military base, near strategic assets like bomber bases, missile silos. In the last 2 weeks, there have been major discoveries of 2 sim farms in the New York area, one in Jersey, one in the city. I told you about it yesterday. Effectively shutting down telecommunications for the targeted carriers. No need to be reminded of the aggressive Chinese intelligence operation right here in the U.S. U.S. usually involving an ethnic Chinese in the military or the defense industry, devastation of the CIA's human capacity in China. And these revelations, this wave of new information about the huge number of illegals working as truck drivers, gotten very little traction. The company has hired at least 1,000 Chinese illegals as long-haul truck drivers who probably speak little, if no, English. There is actually a Chinese-American trucker organization, CATU, nonprofit, New York-based trade group, purportedly to have assisted over 1,000 would-be Chinese truck drivers to get their commercial driver's license, CDL. Claims to have a 100% passing rate to take the test. A 1,000 drivers. And who are they? And what are their intentions? Something, my friends, is going on, and you better keep your head on a swivel, because it's not looking real good. Danny said, I have a cousin in New York who always votes Democrat. well, then I would say your cousin is an idiot. Sorry, I'm sure your cousin, him or her, is a very nice person. But if they're always going to vote Democrat, just because the person's a Democrat, that is skating really fast into idiot territory. Okay. I want you to be prepared. Maybe get the kids out of the room. I'm just kidding. I have some exclusive footage. I don't know where this came from. Probably California. Maybe Florida. But it is of a topless car wash. Not the sort of thing you see every day, but a topless car wash. No, I'm not kidding. Take a look. There's video. Prepare. Maybe sit down and prepare to be amazed.
Hi. My friends and I are raising money for a charity. Can you do it?
Okay.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, let's get washing. Hi. My friends and I are raising...
You can't say I didn't warn you. That is a sight to behold. An actual topless car wash. Look at a smile on his face. Oh, man. Okay, enough. What did Danny say? She's black and turned my uncle away from Trump with the oppression speech. But she was a very privileged black child who grew up very wealthy. She practices, she's practically white. But played the black card. Mix that with my gay aunts, and they took my dad's entire side to the Democrat votes. You have 2 gay aunts? That's the coolest thing ever. Ever. We had, just a quick one, because I don't have much time left. When I grew up in West Cornwall, Connecticut, we had a beautiful house, 13-room house, cherry woodwork everywhere. It was absolutely gorgeous. But the next house down from us was bought by a couple of ladies. And you know what? As I sit here right now, I think one of them was Judy, and I cannot remember the other one's name. And I'm quite sure by this time they probably passed on. But they ran an antique barn. There was a barn on the property, just down the driveway. And they had it filled with all kinds of brilliant, amazing antiques. And I was, 12, 13 years old. Not really, just barely at the puberty age. Nothing in my life was particularly sexual at that time. But Ludi was one of their names. I can't remember the other. Joe and Ludi, that was it. They were the craziest, absolutely most wonderful two women. And when I grew up a little and I became of age and kind of knew a little bit more about those things, I realized they were actually a couple. And that was the coolest thing ever. They were the sweetest, nicest old aunties you'd ever want to meet. And Joe and Ludi. What a memory. After what must be, I don't know, 50 years? Wow. All right, my friends, we are out of here. We're done for the day. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Be sure and shop Blackout Coffee, Patriot Mobile, all those great sponsors in our show notes down there. Use those links, and we really do appreciate it. Join us on our locals channel, the red button if you're on Rumble right down there. And it's cheap. It's like $5 or $6 a month. You sign up as a subscription. The money goes to help support this show, which is getting expensive, by the way. And we really do appreciate that. Just sign up there. You will, in return for your signing up, get exclusive access to our J. Sheldon Show, the After Hours segments, which we upload 2-3 times a week. There's a few up there right now, and we'll continue to make them and stick them up there exclusively for our locals members. Now, if you're on X, open the show notes. You'll find a link to our locals channel also there. But on Rumble, there's a red button down here somewhere it says join. You click that, and you're off to the races. And thank you for supporting the show. We really, really do appreciate that. All right, they were the coolest until Trump got elected the first time, and now it's all politics all the time and not so nice to me and my sisters. Yeah, that's too bad. Okay, we're done. We'll cook. Stick a fork in me. I'll see y'all tomorrow.